Good evening, everyone. My name is Kenny Williams.
And I'm James Roberts,
We are founders of Six Feet Comics, and we are coming to you
welcoming you to for
an-
Deadlines, right? With
another
6 Feet Comics.
with Six Feet Comics, and today we are going to be chasing the plot, featuring.
Can I put this up there?
Yeah, go for it.
Uncanny Spider-Man,
Bum bum bum.
chasing the plot.
Chasing the plot. So
Okay,
I'm excited about this because I've been following the Krakoa era. James has not, but we want to, kind of chase the plot, find out what worked, what didn't work, in our attempt to become better creators ourselves.
yes, and I will say attempt. We're trying to learn as much as we can about comic creating
Yeah.
and improve on not just reading them well, but actually creating them. So the more we study, the better we get. I believe that's the way we're going to do it, Ken.
I think that that's the only way that's going to work. So let's talk. Let's dish. We're talking about the Uncanny Spider-Man. Spoiler alert. Spider-Man's in the book, but he's not the main character.
Yeah, what do you think about that? Like, it was almost to me, at least, when I first saw it, I was like, are they using Spider-Man to get grab Spider-Man fans to reading uh, Fall of X, or are they trying to get Fall of X fans to read Spider-Man? I don't know.
Actually, I did a little bit of research. I'm known to do that from time to
Nice.
time.
All right, let's
And
hear it.
it is the writer trying to be clever because in previous years, when there was another crossover event that was going on, they had a book called The Amazing X-Men.
Ha ha. So
So
it was a drawback to that.
it
Okay,
was a drawback to that. So now instead of The Amazing X-Men, it's the
it's the
Uncanny
Uncanny Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Okay, that's not bad. I mean, it's not great, but it's not bad.
Yeah, actually, there's a lot of callbacks in this story. So you want to give them a synopsis of the book since you read it recently?
No, but I will do my best. Well, uh, this is also the thing. Like, I have not been following Fall of X at all, so it was a big surprise to me to see Nightcrawler in New York in a Spider-Man outfit and finding out that some people were unalived by a
Oh,
demon.
a lot of
A
people got
demon.
unalived.
Well, yeah. I haven't been following it, so I just got the piece of the puzzle in this book and how. Well, I have to say, I really thought it was more of an internal struggle with Nightcrawler, and that a lot of, even though it had a lot of external activities, it was really him dealing with being a part of that, even though it wasn't his choice, and he was trying to reconcile being a hero again in the face of all of this, and also obviously dealing with his past even
I
further back.
absolutely agree. I mean, it was a very human take on the story. Um, so, as James has already mentioned, the story takes place in New York City. A lot of stuff has happened. Apparently, the X Men had a treehouse in the city, and it got burnt down. There's a group of humans mixed between Shield and AIM and all kinds of people that got together to kill every mutant on the planet, and that organization is called Orchis. So now Orchis has sentinels flying all over. Yeah, I remember sentinels. You know those big scary purple monsters that eradicate mutants. Only now, for some reason, they're wearing Iron Man colors of red and gold, and they're
I guess
going
they're using
around. Go ahead.
Iron Man tech to
Yeah,
do some stuff, which is super scary.
Very frightening. And they're flying around, and every time they sense a mutant, they go and they eradicate them. They don't capture them. They off them. They unalive them.
Now I have a question.
Go ahead.
Since we're going to this part, I again, like I said, I haven't been following Fall of X, although I heard some things here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Krakoa, some kind of drug to cure cancer, and all sorts of other stuff. Teleporting systems. Now, with all of the nice stuff that I just mentioned, why are we now after mutants and trying to unalive them?
Okay, I'm gonna try to. Okay, ready? It's my soapbox moment. It's my
Yes,
soapbox moment.
please. Let's get switch the cameras, please.
There you go. Here we
There
go.
it is.
There it goes. Okay, so I'll try to make
Story
this
time.
as
Story
brief
time.
as I can, and James already knows how difficult that is for me. But
Don't worry, I'll jump in there and be like, okay.
okay, so in essence, the X-Men, actually Moira McTaggart, Charles Xavier, and Magneto got together and they came up with a scheme. They decided that they were going to once again try to create a mutant nation. They know that it hadn't worked before, 16 million dead. Just saying, it didn't work before, but they realized that part of the reason was they didn't have the leverage to convince people. So they went to Krakoa and had Krakoa develop a plant. Two different plants, actually. One plant eradicates all illness. It doesn't matter if you have cancer. It doesn't matter if you have diabetes. It does not matter if you have leukemia. You eat this plant and it goes away. They also created, using Krakoa, portals. They actually took a plant that they were planted in the ground, and the plant will grow into a portal that leads directly to Krakoa, but only mutants can enter it. Except Kitty Pryde, that's a story for another day. Which she found out when she tried to walk through it and broke her nose.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so it was intense. So as a result, they went to the UN and they were made a sovereign nation. Every nation on the planet did not follow them. But because they had these plants, they had to say they had to give them the benefit of the doubt. No human was allowed to live or visit Krakoa. Okay, and Krakoa found itself in the middle of the ocean somewhere. All right, Orcus, which was, as I said, it was AIM, Advanced Idea Mechanics. It was former SHIELD members. It was I can't think of the other group, but multiple bad guy organizations and multiple good guy organizations in the Marvel Universe came together to put a stop to it. And what they wound up doing by the time this story has begun, they got a hold of the plant and they grafted a DNA strain to it, which was a time bomb. So anyone who ingested that plant at any time, Orcus can hit a button and whoever ingested it would die. And they use this as a blackmail for the mutants to get them to get off of Krakoa. And mind you, just about every mutant in the Marvel Universe was living on Krakoa Island. Villains and heroes. And nobodies. Now, how that announcement happened is that they were in the middle of their annual Mutant Gala, which is like the biggest party on the globe. That's the only time humans can go to Krakoa. They always dress up in these fancy outfits and stuff like that. So one of the things that they do annually at that affair is they vote for the new team of X-Men, because now they replenish the team once a year, and they do it telepathically, so everybody on Krakoa gets a vote. And as they announce the team, Nimrod comes crashing down from space and kills them.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're talking Dazzler. We're talking Jubilee. We're talking Cannonball. We're talking about Sync, and we're talking about Talon, who's now going by the name of uh, Wolverine. Kills them. And then all of a sudden, humans do the unthinkable and they walk through the portals, which they're not supposed to be able to, and they start killing everybody. But not the mutants, only the humans. And then
Oh,
you see what they did there? So they can control the narrative of the story. And then they tell Charles Xavier what they did with the plant and the DNA and people, and said, if we see one mutant, for every one mutant we see, we'll kill 10 humans. And that's where the story drops off. So now you're updated.
that's one heck of an update, Ken. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, sir.
Appreciate it because I didn't understand the gravity of this entire situation. Quick question, or I'll add it on to it. Hopefully, it's a quick question. Is the how do I put this? Are the is this in the regular Marvel universe? Or
Yes, it is. And
Wow.
it took us a while to know
Wow.
whether or not this was part of it because
Is it in the future or
it's in the present.
Nimrod is running around in the present?
In the present, he just got created in this storyline.
Holy schmoly.
And mind you, I didn't tell you about Mars,
No, you didn't.
the planet Mars. One of the things
Yes.
that they did at the first Mutant Gala is a bunch of Omega mutants went to the planet Mars and terraformed it, renamed it Planet Araco,
Oh my gosh.
and settled it as only a mutant only planet, and opened up negotiations with the Shi'ar, the Kree, the Skrulls, and everybody else up in space. So the humans are freaking out right now.
Yeah, the space race was nothing.
Was
That's
nothing, and
wow.
they beat humanity to it. So one of the things that you need to know is how technically advanced Orcus is, because Nimrod is part of them. Okay, and they got all the great minds. So what they basically did is they grabbed up Nightcrawler. Actually, no, it started off with his. They got in contact somehow with Margali, Nightcrawler's stepmom,
Uh-huh.
and she used her magics and further demonized him and took all his good aspects, his hope, his dreams, his goodness, and compressed them into a sword called the Hope Sword. And
Okay.
Orchis got a hold of him in this state, and they manipulated him into. Now I had to back over to you. What did he do, James?
I have no idea what he did. What did he do?
Uh, you told me not to talk about it before. He
I don't know
assassinated
what I
some
told.
people.
You're talking about the politicians and the leaders.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. He seemed to be possessed by or influenced. I guess it's because his hope was all gone, and because I don't know. Again, I don't know the details, but it seemed to me like he wasn't himself.
right,
He grew
right.
horns, and he did some
He had a
horrible
serious
things.
underbite. Serious underbite.
Yes, serious underbite.
Yeah. So what was it? It was three ministers,
Yeah, it was.
two sovereigns.
Yeah,
Yeah. And that's where our story actually starts. It starts with him coming to his senses, realizing what he had done, and trying to put everything behind him and trying to clear his mind by doing the only thing that he can think of,
Being a
just
hero.
being a good superhero.
Yeah, being a hero. Now, did he get his mind cleared when he got the sword back,
No.
or was it?
The
It
sword is
was,
now part of him. He can pull it out anytime he wants to.
which is actually a very, very cool, not only visual but a very cool item that it's again the Nightcrawler that I remember. Just looked like a demon. Now he looks like a demon with a sword. uh,
That
and
part.
the sword is actually pretty cool. It fits with his personality as well.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, the
Um
swashbuckler in him is on display every time he pulls that out.
yeah, absolutely. But I dare to say that the sword is actually cooler than you think. So our boy Kurt Wagner goes to New York City, hunts down Spider-Man, calling him Peter, as everybody in the Marvel Universe does now.
Yeah. Well, didn't he reveal his identity?
Oh, James, you've been away for so long, sir.
Oh, really? Something else happened?
He revealed his identity,
Yes.
and when all hell broke loose, meaning Aunt May got shot by Kingpin's minions because
Uh-huh.
of it, he went to. But I'm digressing. This is not the
Yes,
story we're
this is
talking
not the
about.
story. Yes,
Okay,
we'll
okay,
talk about that another time.
okay. So he goes to Peter and says, "Can I borrow a spare suit?" And Peter gives it to him, knowing what happened, but not really knowing all of the details. But
Mm.
straight up said, and this is why I say this is a story about humanity. He was like, "But Kurt, we all know that wasn't you. Whatever happened, I don't know the details, but that's not who you are. We know you." And he said, "I hope that's enough." And Kurt says, "It's not."
Yeah.
It's not. So you want to talk a little bit about Kirk's background, his history, who he is, who the
No,
Wagner is?
you can talk about it. Seems like you got this all planned out, man. Just roll with it.
Nah, no, no, no. It's just
So,
come on. Kirk's one of your
ask me a
favorite X
question.
Men. Okay.
Yes.
So
Ask me a question other than his entire history.
okay, then what kind of man is Kurt Wagner?
Uh, I'm glad you used the word man because that really speaks of him.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he has very strong religious beliefs. I shouldn't say obviously. He has very strong religious beliefs, but he also looks like a demon. And there's always that reaction of people and to
Right.
who he really is as a person. Uh, I also I find that he's very like I don't know. The best way to put it would be he doesn't allow himself to be himself at first. He's
Right.
very like out there and very happy and very trying to be friendly because he knows how people react to him when they see him
Mm-hmm.
at first.
Right.
Uh, and so he's also sort of a swashbuckler. He likes adventure, and I think that's the aspect of his personality that I enjoy the most because he's playing out that role of being the hero,
Right.
even though he looks like the demon or the bad guy.
I love
So,
that.
like I said, there's a lot of conflict in his personality, the way he looks, and the way he really is. Uh, I could go further because obviously he doesn't have problems with the ladies.
See, I was waiting for you. I was waiting. I was about to ask you. I was about to ask you the question. What does Kurt have in common with Daredevil, Wolverine,
no,
Clint
no problem
Barton,
with the
and
ladies.
Tony Stark?
No problem with the ladies whatsoever.
None at all. He's a
Uh,
swashbuckler.
he's a swashbuckler, but I also think it's because he looks like a bad guy. It's
Yeah,
the whole bad guy thing.
yeah, and not to
And
mention the fact that he's as charming as all get out,
yes, yeah, he is very charming. Absolutely.
and the
And
accent.
he's a real hero, and he's a
Yeah,
man of action.
yes, he
He's
is.
a man of action.
Yeah,
So yeah, he's got all of the good hero traits.
right.
So
So he's in the park with his good hero traits, trying to go back to it, trying to fight off depression over what these people made him do. And then
mhm.
there's some other things because there's the Legion of X book that happened prior to this, as well as the Way of X book that happened prior to this, all of which heavily featured Nightcrawler. He was the main character in both of them.
Really? So
Yeah.
Nightcrawler getting some sunshine.
Yeah,
I like
so
that.
Way of X is where on Krakoa, Nightcrawler created the unique religion that is specific just to the mutants. And Legion of X, part of the storyline was he and Legion and a ragtag group of mutants, including Banshee, worked together to create the new mutant purgatory. What you
Okay.
because
I
what you
don't. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff I do not know.
so this is real quick. This is real quick because one of the things that happened that the mutants kept secret is that they learned how to resurrect from death,
That's a big secret.
and the humans did not know it. But after that, the Nimrod crashed the party.
Uh huh. They resurrected everybody.
No, they put the information out in public.
Oh.
So now you got the eating of the plants. You've got the mutants supposedly killing all the humans at the gala, and you got the fact that you kill them, they come right back to life.
Well, isn't that always been the way with the X-Men? They
Always,
always come back stronger and better than they were.
they do. Hold on.
That's kind of funny that they made it.
An actual
Like
thing.
yeah, an actual resurrection. That's hilarious.
What was the line that Colossus immortalized as part of the mutant trope? I thought you were dead.
We
I got better.
Yeah. Yep, that's it.
Right. So, but that's what happened. So, which is why Nightcrawler was able to come back. So he had a lot of things that happened to him. Okay. He had a lot of things that happened to him, and that was the straw that broke the back. And so he just wanted to do some simple superheroing. He's not
Get
asking for a
back to
lot.
what it used to be
He,
an X-Men or a hero.
he wanted to stop some muggers, James. Just
Yes,
muggers.
some muggers, and it's like,
Bank
well,
robbers. He's not
they did
asking for
have
much.
they did have shocker tech.
Yes, they did. They did.
Wasn't like regular muggers, but
Well, they were C-listers. They were
yes,
C-listers.
they weren't top grade. You're right.
Right. But, just the basic stuff. And Spider-Man could use all the help he can get because, Daredevil refuses to leave Hell's Kitchen. So, And then the other thing is that he was spending his time patrolling a specific area, which I thought was genius. He was patrolling Central Park.
Hmm.
Why was he?
Now, why did you think that? Well, we know why.
Right.
Because there were sightings of Mystique in Central Park.
Yeah, but that's not the real reason he was patrolling Central Park. Central Park is the only part of the city that traditionally Spider-Man does not go to.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Why?
No
Because there are
buildings.
only trees and no buildings. Now, he
Right.
can get by, he can absolutely do that, but he's slowed down to a snail pace. Spider-Man standard.
In comparison
Right.
to how he is when he's in the city itself. While Nightcrawler does not have that problem whatsoever.
Right, he can bet line of sight and he's there. So it was, I thought that was genius. And then the other reason, sightings of Mystique.
Yeah.
And Mystique is who, James?
Well, in history, Mystique is the mother of Nightcrawler.
Right, right,
So at least that's the way the legend had it
right.
way back in the day.
And what you don't know is that Mystique had gone missing minutes before Nimrod crashed the party.
Oh, wow, I did not
Xavier,
know that.
Xavier, sensing it coming, pushed Raven out the window. She fell out the building, didn't hit the ground because the building was built on a cliff. Fell down the cliff and then landed on the rocks, bashed her head wide open, and then the waves came and took her out to sea.
And that's how she survived.
That's how she survived, and that's why her memory is all jacked up.
I
because she has a Mystique. One of her many powers is that she has a built-in healing factor. So the
right,
damage that happened to her brain, as she began to heal,
right.
stuff started showing up that wasn't there previously.
Started making sense. I
Right.
got you.
Or didn't start making sense.
Yeah,
So
well,
she had been gone for a while. She
okay.
had been gone for a while. So yeah, he was there. So forget about all the information I gave you about Krakoa.
Forget it. That's
Yeah,
forgot it.
yeah, yeah.
It's
Just
gone.
forget it right now. You didn't
Okay.
know about the Krakoa era.
Right.
What did you think of the initial scene and the initial setup of book one?
Uh, okay. I have to say, well, I thought it was good because they introduced Nightcrawler immediately in the spider suit chasing the bad guys.
Yeah.
Also, they were in Central Park, and also we did get a quick sighting of Mystique as she was traveling through the Central Park looking for her missing baby,
Right.
which I thought was uh, quite a good way to introduce that. And then also, it was that the introduction of uh, what do you call him, the baby Nightcrawler, or
Yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah,
The
it
Banff.
almost, yeah, what do you call him? The
Little
Banff.
Banff. The
Yeah,
Banff.
little Banff.
BAMF, as in the
Yeah,
sound effect of Nightcrawler
Nightcrawler's
teleporting.
teleportation.
Hmm.
Uh, which I thought was very interesting. I had no idea what was going on there.
Now
It looked like,
you'll be happy to know none of us knew what was going on there because that
okay,
was the
well, that's good.
first time we saw that thing.
And also we saw the Sentinel. It really set up the what was going on in the world relatively quickly. Uh, Nightcrawler was pretending to be Spider-Man, hiding in plain sight. I believe is the way Peter Parker
Hmm.
put it. Uh, Also, he was still doing his hero business. Sentinel showed up, but somehow he wasn't detected as a mutant.
Right,
I thought that was an impressive little thing. Um, Citizens were there cheering him on as he was doing his hero thing.
right,
Uh, then we get to find out his woes in book one. I'm actually shouldn't be going through all the details. It really the first book to me at least was about uh, Nightcrawler trying to change his life
hmm,
to get himself back to his base, to get back to him. But it's weird to me that he pretended to be somebody else in order to get back to his base.
right,
But I guess the world wasn't allowing him to be himself.
right.
A
Size.
lot of introductions. You know what I kind of liked about the book
What?
was, yeah, you could tell it was a big story because they introduced so many characters
Yeah.
in that book. In all of the books, actually, there's more and more. It's like layer upon layer of characters.
So
The
Size Spur, I always butcher his name, but Size Spurrier was the writer
okay,
of the book.
okay,
So, what were the elements of his writing technique that made that work?
okay. This is the make it work part.
This is to make it work. We're chasing the plot, sir.
Well, again, he was introducing a lot of different elements, one after the other, and but they were linked. It wasn't
Right.
like it was just out of nowhere. Well, in a sense, it felt like out of nowhere, but a few moments later, it kind of told you where it came from, why it
Right.
was happening. So it was following. I don't want to say logical, but it was following a path to lead you through the story, and it was obvious to me that it had to do with his childhood. Like even the little Bamf, it looked like a baby.
Yeah.
It looked like a baby Nightcrawler. And then when Mystique is looking, where's my baby? All of this is the past for Kurt.
Right.
So and he was getting back to base as well. So trying to get back to just being a hero, just helping out people. all of this has to do with his past. So I feel like that first book was a setup for him dealing with what has happened to him, and now getting back to who he really is as a person. It's kind of late for you to switch over to me with this.
No, no, no. You just stopped talking because I switched over to you. You're not fooling me, buddy.
Yeah. Well, anyway, the that was a big thing, but you also saw there was uh, a bigger world of events that was going on, and that he is a central character in it, and he can't just not be a part of it. He really has to still get back involved. I believe in book one they introduced tombs.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was good. They made a mention of the hounds.
Right.
Uh, I think even Nimrod was introduced in book one. Not introduced, but he was there in book one.
Right.
Obviously, Spider Man. Like I said, with just so many characters, and it was paced out though, where it made sense what was going on, and they kind of introduced the character. You didn't know who he was, and then next thing you know, you find out, oh, that's Vulture. And then the next thing you find out, he's working with Nimrod, and the next thing you find out that they're hunting down
Mutants.
you know, it just continually kind of just followed that path where information was hinted at, then revealed, then hinted at more information, then revealed. So it was I feel like he was setting up, creating questions, and then answering them. Not totally answering them, but giving a partial answer to it to lead you to the next question, which leads you to the next part of that answer. It was like a growing, like a question is just being answered, taking you down that path, which I thought I enjoyed. I enjoyed that aspect of it.
What blew my mind about the
Nice. That was
storyline.
good.
I thought you liked that.
That was good.
What blew my mind about that, and I thought that was interesting. You not knowing what came before, and you spoke
Hmm.
to it, speaks to the fact that you are a writer. Um, it blows my mind how he was able to write the story in such a way that it felt like a full world. It felt like all the stuff that was going on, the world was big enough to handle all of those things.
Hmm.
And as a result, you were able to, it kind of forced you to mentally focus in on uh, Nightcrawler, who was once again having a crisis of faith. So it made you immediately want to make him feel better. Listen, when Spider Man is trying to talk you off of a cliff,
Yeah, yeah, that's a
I'm
good
just
good one.
saying, I'm just saying, Spider Man was being the priest instead of being
Yes.
the whiner, and
Yeah,
as opposed to the other way around. And I was like, wow, if
that's right.
Spider Man's heart is going out like that, and that was that was a fantastic writing technique because anyone who knows Spider Man knows that he's usually the one seeking counseling from someone else.
Hmm.
I mean, he goes to Doctor Strange, he goes to Captain America, he goes to Tony Stark, when he
Looking
needs
for
some money.
advice. How do I deal? How do I deal with this? How do
He
I
goes
deal?
to Reed all the time. And here he is just handing out a hand and showing support. And at the same time, I love it, not being invasive.
Yeah, not pushing him. I think that's what winds up happening with him. People
Yeah,
start pushing to find out the details, but it's really he was going through his thing, and when he was ready, he would
right.
tell him. So
So it was amazing that it really stayed a story on a human level because it wasn't about Spider-Man and Nightcrawler. It was about Peter and Kurt.
hmm
And they didn't even refer to each other as their superhero names except for when they were fighting together,
right.
which didn't even happen in the first book.
No, it did not. Which I
Yeah.
thought it wasn't necessary. I think
It
it
was
was.
not necessary. And I don't know about you, but me, when I saw Tombs,
Hmm.
my jaw dropped. I
So
was
you
like,
immediately knew who he was.
well, because he's the only character in all of Marvel who has the last name Toomes. It's got to be
Yeah,
Adrian.
right,
And not to mention that it was still closer. Well, no, come on, he was just in the second Spider-Man movie.
right.
But when I saw Toomes and I saw the bald head and I saw the hawk nose, I was like, no. And then when he went after, oh my lord, deep cut, he went after Pharaoh.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
where's she been? And where's her sister? Like the only two Puerto Rican superheroes in the Marvel universe. But that was kind of cool. I was like, whoa, what is going on here? And there was a the book asked a lot of questions, and then there was a deep cut when Toomes was introduced. The guy who was speaking to, did you know who that was?
Nope, I did
Okay,
not.
so deep cut. So remember his last name, rather his name was Junior. I can't give you the character's name right now, but his name was Junior. Okay, and he had the 1970s mustache,
Yes.
but he had the 1980s ponytail.
Okay.
All right, and he was the one who was behind the technology that allowed Nightcrawler to be controlled to begin with. And
Copy. Copy.
his deep cut is the same name without the junior. His father was in one issue of Iron Man. No, I'm sorry, of the Mighty Thor, where his father was a scientist who worked for Tony Stark.
Wow.
So
That's
when
a deep. That's a deep cut.
So when Orcus was, and again, one of the things that I love about the Krakoa era is that they left space. Hickman did most of the writing for that, and Cy took over, but they allow for you to rack your brain and figure things out. They didn't give you all the answers.
Mhm.
So what happened is Orcus was recruiting, and they were looking for his father. Didn't find the father, but found the son. Crazy. Crazy. You got to give it to him, man. That's clever.
Yeah, I do wonder. Just did someone who edited this book? Because there were a
Uh,
lot of discussions about because each one of the characters that they use have a huge past.
that's
I
right.
mean, it's so this is so all intertwined. It's amazing that they can still write stories for these characters.
Well, you know what? I think that's one of the reasons why they flip writers and artist teams so often, because it always takes someone who has their A album before their B. You know what I'm saying? The A album is always in their head. So they have all these stories that they have created when they knew the history and the timelines and the characters and all that stuff. So they just come. I mean, Sai is coming right behind Hickman. Hickman killed it. But yeah, I agree that the story was. You would think, you know, the rule of thumb when you're writing a story is to only have 5 acts, right? Three
Hmm.
acts, no more than 5 acts. And the common trope is that when you're writing a comic book story, don't change locations more than 5 times, because then you confuse the people. And Sai got through it by changing a lot of locations, but never leaving Central Park. I mean, he went to the
Okay.
cat where they were, where Kurt and Peter were talking was in the tower of the castle.
Hmm.
And at first, I thought that they were in a skyscraper, and
That's what
then
I thought as well.
I realized, no, that's where they do Shakespeare in the park, which was kind of clever. So he was able to change. At one point when he when Crazy Ann disappeared,
Hmm.
and then when he chases the guy who was doing the mugging, they were at the tunnel. I'm taking my kids there. You know,
Which is that's one of the things about
Marvel.
Marvel comics. Yeah,
Yeah,
being able to be in the area, which we also find in manga. They
Yeah.
use a lot of actual locations,
Yep.
actual buildings, the whole thing, and it's something about that where it makes it, it gives the world some solidity, some actuality, if you will.
Right.
So,
At this
but you
point,
also get some creativity as well because you can play with your different angles and different ways of looking at it.
right. Right. Uh, and then I also love the fact that you can see that something wasn't right with Nightcrawler, but you had no clue what it was.
Hmm.
They really did not go into the depth of it. We just know that he got mind controlled. We heard about the murder, but
Hmm.
then he said something about him being dead too, right?
Yeah, yeah,
He said something about Nightcrawler being dead. And then you got the Crazy Ann story, which is when I first read it, I was like, why is he so interested in this homeless woman? I don't understand, right?
right,
And then you're dealing with the fact that the mutant detectives don't detect him.
right. And it's like, what's going on? But they know everybody. I repeat, everybody knows is Kurt. There is nobody who doesn't know that is Kurt. And it's like,
Yo, it's true.
yeah,
Everybody knows that it's Kurt,
yeah. So,
and they kind of quietly let us know that they know. They
mhm,
don't actually come out and say it, except for Peter, because he
right,
knows
well,
he's the one who gave him the suit. But even
right.
Peter was like, "But how do you make the tail turn black?
Yes. How do you do that?
How do you do that?" It's like, I designed this suit. It's not supposed to do that. Oh man, and when he did you well, what did you think about the inclusion of the web chat?
Oh, you mean the
That was hysterical.
yes, yes. Uh, can we make a part two to this?
We're gonna have
Because
to.
we barely got into book one,
Yeah,
and it's already 9:20.
yeah. We're gonna have
So
to because
yeah,
so I'm guessing what we're saying so far. Book one worked for both of us.
yeah. Book one definitely worked.
Not to mention the
Again,
art. The art was fantastic.
one of the things that I yes, and I started looking up some of the artists stuff. I wish I'd been able to tell you earlier because he's got Instagram and IG, and a lot of his art posted up, and very solid stuff. I mean, really, really good artists.
Yeah.
So uh, next time we'll post up the artist, the writer, and see if we can show some of the stuff because these guys obviously came together and wrote an at least book one, Awesome
Mm-hmm.
Sauce. We'll
Yeah.
discuss the other books in time.
Okay. Fair enough. So this is Kenny Williams.
This is James Roberts.
I think that we chased that plot,
Well,
among
we're
other
still
things.
chasing the plot. We're still chasing the plot.
I think that on our next podcast, it'll go a little bit easier because now we don't have to go so much into the Krakoa era. But understand that this story takes place during the fall of Krakoa.
Fall of
Krakoa's
X.
fall of X. Their days are numbered. So,
Now, with
go
that,
ahead.
I haven't really been watching. Just want to say this one last thing. But, you know, this is kind of timed poorly, if you ask me,
Uh huh.
because MCU now is introducing mutant kind to the MCU,
Uh huh.
and
Is it though,
Fall of
James? Is it though?
yeah, a kind of X Men, a kind of X Men.
No, I don't think so because the introduction of uh, X Men '97
Mm-hmm.
kind of lays the template and what happened, what's going on in the Marvel universe post the fall of Krakoa. Uh, as a matter of fact, this era right now for the X Men is called From the Ashes.
Mm-hmm.
It takes us right back to the status quo. So
Well, aren't we starting with the end?
we're starting with the end, but the end leads into the beginning. See what I did
Yes.
there?
Let's
See what I
let's
did
get
there?
really deep, Cam. We're gonna have to end it on that one because that was really deep. That was
Oh,
really deep.
listen, I tried. So until next
Until
time,
next time.
this
All right.
has been Deadlines with 6B Comics. You guys have a great evening.
All right. Take it
Signing
easy.
off. Take it light. Peace.